Whew. It's been a minute since I've done one of these. So I'll just wait until some people join up and we'll get started. What's up, 16 Kid Guitar? Just post the link for anybody ready to join. What's up, AMR? All right. Since there's enough people, I guess we can get started. All right. Today's topic. And I will admit, it's good to be back, 16 Kid Guitar. I will admit, I am very fired up right now. I just watched a mini documentary about Chicago and the crime epidemic there. And I can say it was very heart-wrenching, to say at least. I am honestly shaken right now. And that's what we're about to be talking about today. As you see by the title, what does defunding the police mean for light-skinned people? Because I think I can speak for a lot of people right now when I say that most, if not all, the people watching have in some way, shape, or form lived in a predominantly black community, myself included. And I think we can all be the first to say how these communities look as of right now. I think the light-skinned saviors have had this mic for too long now. And there's really not enough light-skinned people really objectively looking at what exactly we're fighting for here. Defunding the police. What does that mean? What exactly would defunding the police, which in this case, abolishing the police, what exactly would that do for the communities that we currently live in? Just take a good look at your prototypical black community of today. Let's look at black cities: Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Maryland. Let me see. I know there's another one. Compton, Sacramento. What do all these places have in common? They're black communities and they're full of crime. So you would think that black people would be one of the first to say, no, these communities are bad enough as it is. We can't just abolish the police force, which is pretty much the last line of defense against these communities. What exactly would abolishing the police force do to make the situation better? If anything, it makes it worse. So taking that in consideration, wouldn't black people be the first to say no? No! There are actually black people that are all on board for this, particularly these black celebrities. And people just aren't thinking. Of course, they're going to say defund the police. They're not the ones living in these communities. They talk all this stuff with their social justice warrior platforms in the NBA, and they run their little suburbs where there's not a piece of trash on the ground, not a gunshot to be heard, and they probably wouldn't. If you ask them what Pookie is, they probably wouldn't even know what you're talking about. Of course, they're going to say it. They're not the ones that have to deal with this. Of course, they're going to say abolish the police. All these celebrities like LeBron, Colin Kaepernick, these people don't deal with the stuff that we deal with, us everyday people. No, they don't. And my question is, why are people? I don't get it. Have we really reached a point now where people are so delusional that they are just willing to look through all this? Has it reached that point? People are just not looking at reality here. And unfortunately, thanks to the current president that we have in office right now, this stuff is only going to escalate. Especially if anyone hasn't noticed, has anyone noticed how many police shootings we're starting to have all of a sudden? Salute, Caesar. Salute. It's happening more now than ever before. This is only going to keep escalating until eventually they're going to act on it. Eventually, the police are going to be defunded. And next thing you know, Chicago is going to basically be overrun by the criminals. Chicago is already bad enough now. Does anybody even want to imagine what's going to happen if they defund the police? I wish I'm confused was here because he could tell it better than I can. I mean, I live close to Chicago, but I'm not there. I've been there a couple times, and trust me, that is not a place that I would dare want to live in. Let me see. I know there was a. Okay, so there's the link to the stream. And there was also something else I wanted to show you guys. Oh, yes, yes. On top of defunding the police, they are also working on taking away our right to bear and keep arms. You know what? I'm glad you. Hold on, let me highlight this comment. Okay. So that's something else. It's just, I really do not know what else you could really say about this. So, on top of defunding the police, they're also talking about banning guns. It is coming to the point where you are literally going to be at the complete mercy of these guys. No, there's literally nothing you're going to be able to do because if you think that's going to stop them from having guns, of course not. They're going to have guns even more. There's a reason why all these black markets exist already. You're just going to be a complete submission to these guys. And the crazy thing about it is, this is what these people voted for. Yes, we are about to go there in this stream today. I try to stay away from politics because I know there's a lot of people in certain spheres and panels that if you say the wrong thing, your channel is as good as gone. But enough is enough. What do they say? Enough is enough. Well, enough is enough. I can't keep staying silent on this. I would be insane to just turn a blind eye to all this craziness that's going on. And we are only in the first year of this quote unquote president's term. Just imagine how it's going to be in his like second or third year. That's all we hear. Gun control and BLM. And the irony in BLM is look at the kind of people that they endorse. I haven't streamed in a while, so I need to remember how you split. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Anyway, this person right here that I'm about to show you guys is basically the leading catalyst in the complete downfall of Chicago that we are seeing before our very eyes. She goes by the name of Kim Fox. This lady right here. This basically right here is the catalyst to basically the downfall of Chicago before our very eyes. Her and Lori Lightfoot are basically two of the main people that you can blame for why Chicago is the way it is. Some of the policies that this lady right here has passed are just downright disgraceful. And it has come to the point now where people like this lady right here are now basically in charge. So Chicago is but a mere preview of what we are about to see in the future. And this ties into what today's stream is about, what defunding the police means. Because as we all know, a lot of the gripes that us light-skinned people have really aren't going to get talked about. Because I've seen that light-skinned people seem to be the main ones, as always, that seem to be championing this dysfunctional ideology that is carrying us to the brink of widespread destruction. Defunding the police. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a complete police like defender or anything, but let's be honest. If you had to choose between the police and these guys that are just going around terrorizing these neighborhoods, are just completely destroying the Black community, destroying Black people's image, including us light-skinned people's image, because unfortunately we have to be associated with this dysfunction. We basically, everywhere we go, We basically take the raps for these guys' downfalls. It's it's just the honest truth. Honest. Can you do a live on the double standards and why it's okay to like and prefer dark skin but not light skin? I probably will in the future. I've kind of dabbled into the topic a little here and there, but I haven't really ever like went into full detail. But honestly, this just all ties into basically what we're talking about right now, the double standards. Because in basically in today's society, we pretty much certain like topics have become so one-sided nowadays that anybody that says anything that doesn't tie into what the mainstream media says is not going to get it. Most of the people that I've seen that have talked against the double standards between light skin and dark skin people on the light skin side, of course, because as you know, I was just watching a video just this morning of a light skinned woman that was talking about how light skinned people need to acknowledge light skin privilege and all that. And of course, she didn't have not one comment on her video telling her that no, it's wrong and you shouldn't be acknowledged. No, of course. Her video had like 50 likes, only like one dislike. But videos like mine, which lately I've been talking about the double standards quite often, have been ridiculed by a lot of people. A lot of people plastered hair don't make you look good. Yeah, this character right here, you can pretty much blame her. This one right here, and while we're on the subject of Chicago, we're going to be talking about this. There you have it, Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago. This is who you can blame right here for why Chicago is in shambles. And it's not just going to be Chicago. If these types of radical blue people are in charge of these cities, they are only going to get worse. And these are the people who are basically in power now because the only thing that was really keeping these people at bay was Mr. 45, if we want to be technical. But already judging by the 2 months that we've seen, 46, you really, honestly, you really don't even hear too much about 46. Looks like Jesse Jackson with makeup. Oh, yes. I mean, just look at this lady. Does this lady look like she even cares? This is basically the mayor that you can blame for Chicago. And this documentary really I would urge anybody. I'll probably leave the link in the description of this live once I'm done. I would urge a lot of people to watch that because this that video basically is what the future of these communities hold if these people finally go along with this dysfunctional narrative that they're going with and finally defunding the police. And these leftist cities, oh, they're going to be the first ones to go in a puff of smoke. What is that thing on the screen? Bigfoot, apparently. Ah, what defunding the police means for light-skinned people. So, and there was another. I live close to Chicago. I live in the Midwest too, and it's really not too much better in my city. In fact, my city pretty much is, you could say, the sister city of Chicago, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Can we call in? You can, but you have to. So you have to click the StreamYard link that I posted right above your comment, and you have to have a mic or a phone attached to your account, and you can join the panel. Just click the StreamYard link right there. So if anyone wants to join the panel, just click that link right there. Discreet Geek says, Black Twitter is a hell's nest. Twitter in general is nothing but a liberal faces in hell. You voice your conservative outlooks or even right-wing libertarian outlooks in your silence. Oh, don't even get me started on Twitter. I used to be on Twitter a lot, but it's come to the point now where Twitter is basically, it's just a waste of time even being on there. It's, you might as well just go to a different platform. Okay, AMR, are you here?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I don't have any feedback, do I?
No, you're loud and clear, brother.
All right, cool, man. But yeah, though. But hey, I'm a first timer. Again, actually seeing your stream. Even though I did check out, a few videos on the channel, and everything you saying right now is just spot on.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. It's coming to the point now where a line needs to be drawn, man, because these people are about to bring us to the point of widespread death and destruction. You, we can't just sit back and let this happen.
So yeah, I've been asking myself. I've been saying that, to myself, again since '87. But again, it's like I try to do what I do in order to somewhat get by. Again, and as regarding the numbers that you had talked about, oh, thank you, Light Bright Galaxy. Um, I'm like, yeah, like the numbers game. I'm like, it's always easy for that to be used against us, especially when, again, when the other side, it's like, well, if you're going to say that, well, then how are you going to compare numbers to populations over here versus populations over there? Especially if it's related to the topics that you're talking about.
Yeah, true, true. But honestly, in the grand scheme of things, there's just a lot of there's a lot of people that either they willfully just are oblivious to this stuff, or they just they see it and just they don't care.
Yeah, or they just turn a blind eye instead of really doing some really deep soul searching and deep inner soul type of thinking. Because I truly believe that that's really what's in their best interests. Is that again that
It's
that we don't necessarily rattle the cage. And I'm like, well, the cage is somewhat sort of been rattled already.
Well, you gotta look at it like this. In today's society, we pretty much live in the age now where people have really fallen into this whole group thing kind of way.
Right?
Nowadays, if you don't accept the status quo, you're pretty much shunned. It's basically like you either accept the status quo or just leave. That's pretty much, and this is something that I've seen the black community do more than anybody,
Yeah.
especially if you're a black man that doesn't like if you're a black man that doesn't adhere to the status quo, oh, you're definitely out of there. Especially a light skinned man at that doesn't adhere. Because truth be told, they really like to see us appear to their stereotypes. But Herschel Walker has a son named Christian Walker, and he has like a lot of conservative talking points. And I've seen people have been shaming him, and not just black people, but people of all races, calling him stupid, crazy, self hater, all kinds of crazy things.
Hey, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I mean, I know who Herschel Walker is, but I didn't know he had that his son, even had a podcast like that where he talks about conservative views and such, and the backlash that of course that is the new norm, of course. But it's like, well, it's like, hey, well, is there anything that again that he may be saying that, and this is for the people that that just because again the word like conservative or even the things that goes against the status quo, can you point out something that's been said that isn't entirely wrong, or just
Uh,
for oh, go ahead.
well, I admit he has said some questionable things about the whole George Floyd situation and all.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, George George Floyd, yeah, I'm glad that the guy got prosecuted because I can only imagine what would have happened if like that Derek Chauvin wouldn't have been prosecuted. These places would have went up in flames. And that's the same thing that I saw in this documentary. Like right after like the police shooting, these people were setting fire to businesses like crazy. And that's the part that they didn't really show.
Yeah.
Because I know where I live, there were some places that were boarded up that were practically took like months to rebuild. Months. And they're not going to show you that part.
Yeah, they always tend to leave the most important, the sort of, again, the I don't want to say the most important, but again, just the things that they don't show because, again, because it goes against the narrative, because it's like, hell, like, because it's not going to gain, all that much attraction as, they or we like to think that it would. But you know what, though? But the thing is that, like, to me, I'm still more kind of more disturbed about the Devontae Wright killing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, yeah, even with the George Floyd, yeah, the man, again had the knees on the neck and stuff, but it's like the Devontae Wright to the situation. God rest his soul. Probably would have been, again, sort of the topic of discussion that's being held right now. Um,
Yeah, I've seen he crazy thing is, even if you look at like his story, he still really doesn't like, you can't even like, do you even know the cop's name that killed him? He's
no,
nowhere near as mainstream as George Floyd was.
no, and you have the same thing. What they have in common, both killed by police, but one attraction gets put over. Oh yeah, one over the other. It's like, why don't y'all call both of it out? It's like just don't necessarily just lean to one because it goes against the because again it's something that you want to promote. Oh yeah, triple mask. Oh yeah, I already know that it was a woman that did it, but
Oh
just
yeah.
but the again, but just the main attention, again from Western media to put one over the other. And of course somebody gonna say, well, the George Floyd thing uh happened first. So like this didn't come in like the same thing didn't have the same agenda.
To be honest with you, the only reason, two reasons why it's not really mainstream is because one, like Triple Masker said, it was a woman, and two,
Right,
it was a light skinned man,
right,
which kind of, the black community, it was like a double edged sword because they love to say how privileged light skinned men are. So to see that kind of blows up their whole like narrative of saying that we're so privileged. So they really don't want that to be a mainstream story because they want to at least uphold that narrative that we're privileged, because that just blows the whole thing up.
yeah. And you know, and the thing is that again, and I'm still trying to again find out till this day whenever I hear oh, light skinned men or light skinned women or people have these privileges. I'm like, well, if that's the case, well then I might as well be set for life, but I'm not. I've been looking for this privilege for forever since that's what's being said.
Now, see, Discreet Geek. Now, I'm glad he brought this up because this is another story that I heard. Darian Hunt was killed while cosplaying. Zero media traction. You know what's crazy? I wouldn't have never even known about this guy, but I was just surfing through like a YouTube comment section. I
Right.
forgot what video it was, but there was this guy, and I wish I could go to that video and highlight his comment because he was just speaking pure facts. Because he was basically one guy going against a whole group of people in that comment section talking about how light skinned men are privileged. But this guy went down the line and was talking about a whole bunch of light skinned men that were killed by the police that I had never even seen. So I looked this guy up, and this guy was basically killed for having a fake sword. And you would never know about this guy. Or just recently, I was watching, I think it was like some true crime mystery series, and there was this black and Latino guy that was killed by like these. He had went to like this party like in some hick place, and it basically got killed and went missing for a couple of days. Nobody has seen the guy. All his friends had left, and he turns up about a week later, dead. Nobody knew anything. Nobody said anything. And I thought, looking at the story that happened recently, but it happened all the way in 2005. Keep in mind, this show is in 2020, and we're just now hearing about this.
Sorry about that, man. I'm actually playing on my phone, doing some calculation here.
Okay, that's cool. I think I forgot what his it was Alonzo something. I can't remember his name. But to this day, nobody knows who killed this guy. And it's one of those like hush like cases where the people that supposedly killed him, they had like so much like a real corrupt like police system where they pretty much got everybody paid off. So it's like you'll never know who did it.
Yeah, and you know what? And so this is about what going on for like 15, 16 years,
Yeah, to
and
this day,
they
they still don't know who killed this guy.
right. Like there was a like hell, even there was another YouTuber, and I don't know if you ever heard of him named Messy Maya. You know, and he was a YouTuber, but he would just be going around, like he would roast people, but not necessarily on YouTube, but just roast people outside of YouTube, people who he knew, personally. And I guess whatever was being said, got under their got under their skin. They just walked up to him and just shot him, no point blank range, and they still ain't even found out who did it. So that's just like so. I mean, I understand. I mean, now I don't know. Again, your experience, if you've ever been the roasty or the roaster, but it's like again, it's like if now I'm not saying that again, like nobody really don't deserve to get roasted. Well, depending on the situation, but if it's really gonna get you to the point to where you're just so emotionally attached to where you got to go grab a firearm and just shoot someone, I'm like, come on, man.
Well, I it kind of is both ways because
Yeah,
I'm pretty much. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in,
yeah,
but some of a lot of people are on edge nowadays. It's like you can't really say like certain things to people without them getting like so fired up over it.
so I hear that.
It's only going to get worse at this point because people are emotional now, and it's like you got to be real careful, like who you're dealing with, what you say, because people are sensitive over things now. Uh, Looks like James Jr. says that this Messi Maya got killed where some of his people live. I believe that is down south, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, that's in New Orleans, I believe.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because like for me, I'm from again I'm from down south, even though I grew up in the Northwest, well, the Pacific Northwest, and and to tell you the truth, and to think that again, like I was the only one that was going through the kind of problems that that whether not just y'all, but other people that may have the same complexion as us go through on a regular basis.
Okay, what's going on, Caesar?
What's up, fam? Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear, bro.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, man. I saw my golden brothers up here, man. I wanted to come up here and at least join in the conversation, show my face, show my dedication to our plight, you know what I'm saying? And I think the brother here got a great channel, man. I love it when you go live, man. I wish you would do it more, but I wish for a lot of things I ain't got yet. But what I think is going on, brothers. I mean, first off, let me say this. What I wanted, what I was trying to do on my little small channel was to start bringing about an awareness. you know what I'm saying, about our multicultural, way of life, being golden in America and abroad, you know what I'm saying, and start putting out the right information to get people to see themselves for who they are. A lot of times, most of the time, our people are out there, fighting for this black cause because they never took the time, they never had the blessing of having the time to look at themselves as multicultural. You know what I'm saying? They're out there fighting for one part of themselves. What's going on? This is my opinion. I can't prove this, but what's going on in Black America? Black America is being steered to its own demise. You know what I'm saying? And the only way anybody can steer you to your demise is with your cooperation. You know, they pushing for these people to defund the police. They're trying to make it difficult for them to get guns. They ran a trial error over in Seattle where they where they were looking to see if they can contain, and that, what is it called, CHOP or Chaz, you know what I'm saying? If they can contain it while it's breaking itself down. So these people are burning down their resources. They're getting rid of amendments, but whichever one is where you own weapons. And I think it's a simple ploy for a hostile takeover. That's me. That could be. But when I was coming up in the projects, I understood how people took over stuff. You know what I'm saying? They took over it by, to a degree, getting their enemies to cooperate. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's a sad thing. And the worst part about it is all the rest of us are being prepped for it. We all, to the point where, I don't say we all, but enough of us, whether we golden or conservatively black, we all to the point where we so tired of this shit, we'll sit there and watch it burn with the sense of, with the mind state of good. That's what they get. You know what I'm saying? So we all kind of being prepped for this inevitable thing that I've seen happen in the projects many a times, So that's my take on that. I can't prove it, but that's what it looks like to me. That's what my intuition leading me to see. And for golden folks, it's time for us, period. Whether they were creating a Wakanda over there, it's time for us to see ourselves for who we are, being multicultural and understanding that we have a bloodline that's filled with ancestors. We are complete. You know what I'm saying? We are what the human race looks like when it's complete. You know what I'm saying? We're not one part of an ingredient to a cake. You know what I'm saying? We are, for me personally, I'm Turkish, Persian, Caucasian, West African, Scandinavian. My list goes on. Indian American, Indigenous American, whichever one is the proper one. And all of that blood is coursing through my veins. You know what I'm saying? And there's a gift in all of us, whether you're multiracial, biracial, or your skin is gold. It's that way for a reason. It's not there for to be a delicacy to all my women, because y'all are gorgeous, and in anybody else's community. You know what I'm saying? And we are being forced by way of rejection. All of the rejection that I hear from the ladies who have been, getting their hair cut and faces slashed, and all of the brothers who, we've been idling around without a home. You know what I'm saying? That rejection is the blessing that we have to make us look at ourselves and see ourselves for the true value of being golden, or whatever you comfortable with. I choose golden. And that's all I wanted to say, man. I wanted to come up here and support my golden brothers, and I'm willing to put my life on the line for this thing. I got 2 little girls, and the first time I ever asked them what was the color of their skin, and they went through all colors in the crayon box. They couldn't figure it out, And after a while, I just kept putting it in them that you're golden. So now when I ask them, they say they're golden. You know what I'm saying? When their teachers ask them, they're golden. And it's a start to having an identity. Once we start to have an identity, then we can get a region, then we can get an economy, then we can have representation, then we can have enough of us to defend, support, and sustain communities and societies. But it's a slow step. But what's going on in Black America affects everybody. You know what I'm saying? But here's a I've talked to sheriffs in other cities, and they ain't defunding their police. It's just going on in these cities where I'm gonna just call them blue cities, and other
You
people
got
may,
that right.
it's going on there. Everybody else ain't doing that. Trust me, here in New Orleans and shit, you ain't running up on St. Charles and all that with that foolishness. Ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? You surely ain't coming up to Kenner and the West Old Meadow and places like, man, them people ain't look. Them people on the first name basis with the sheriffs that they vote for. You know what I'm saying? With the prosecutors they vote for. That's why you get in more trouble meddling around in these cities. That's what they vote for. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I'm gonna say is when I'm challenging older Black men and when I'm challenging people, perspective, I found out that I'm dealing with people that have never even read the Constitution. I'm having an argument with somebody that's never even read it. You don't even know how you picking your candidates. You don't even know if they did good or not. If they followed the Constitution, you have no earthly idea.
You
But
know,
yet you're out here, some of them are out here marching. Some of them do. But I want to bring it up to say, man, a lot of us are not informed, and when you're not informed, you can be led by way of emotion. And I don't want to be that person that say, how hard is goody for Black America, because it's a lot of kids, it's a lot of people that don't know what's going on. It's a lot of my golden family stuck in there. You know what I'm saying? And to see that old elderly folks, and it's going, fat meat is greasy in the South. You know what I'm saying? And I could smell it a mile away. They tried it in Seattle. You know what I'm saying? And they were able to contain it. They were able to let them do what they do, and they were able to keep it contained until they didn't want to keep it contained no more. It was a trial run. And who's going to say something? Because if you say something, if white folks say something about Black folks, they're racist. If conservative folks say something, we racist or bigots, sellouts, coons, and all that. If golden people say something, hey, they got us all where we just got to watch the show. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, man. I ain't gonna keep y'all, bro. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the channel. I'm gonna dip back here and get into the comment section, and I hope what I say makes sense. Like I said in my videos, it makes sense in my head. Sometimes I say it don't come out right. Love y'all, golden family. Y'all take care, all right?
All
thanks,
right, peace
Caesar,
out,
man.
man.
All right.
Well, that he definitely was 100% right about how these people are basically letting, like somebody said on like another YouTube video, they're weaponizing our emotions. And this is something that the Blue Party, I can't really say the name because, YouTube is doxing people like crazy. If you say certain words, your channel is good as gone. But they've been using our emotions for centuries now. And they have perfected it so good to now it's only getting better. Like they know what to do that triggers us. And they still have us under their wing after all these years, man.
Well, but didn't they do that back? Well, hell, didn't they do that again, like in the 1400s or 1300s, like whenever somebody went to prepare for war? So it's like, how you think, hell, even it's like, now I don't know if you're a gamer or anything, but
Oh yeah, definitely.
oh, okay. Well, well, I don't know if you heard of this game called Ghost of Tsushima.
I've heard about it. I've never played it though.
Oh man, it is awesome. Now, some people of course, they're gonna have their opinions and stuff on how, it's not necessarily real. It's just, like a bit of fabrication. Well, maybe so, but again, but the war between the Mongols and the Japanese, yeah, that was real. But one of the things that the villain said to the Jito was, well, while you were sharpening your swords, You want to know how I prepared? I studied your language.
Wow. See,
Yeah, not only did I study your language, I also studied your traditions. What makes you tick? What doesn't make you tick?
you know what? It's crazy you say that because I just recently watched like a Netflix, well, not Netflix, but do you have Amazon Prime by chance?
Matter of fact, I do.
I'm sure you've heard of this series, Them. Now this was I've watched a lot of shows, but this series that I watched was probably the most mind effing series that you probably could ever see because in the 10 episodes, once I was done, I was like taken away. I had to just sit back and step back and unwind for a minute because there was a lot to unpack in this show called Them, basically. And it was basically everything you described. They basically showed how it was in like the early 50s for black people. And in the show, all of them had like their own personal demon that I don't really want to spoil it for you just in case you watch it, but they all had like a personal demon. And it was basically from this older guy from like I believe like the 1800s that made a pact with the devil,
Yeah.
and he basically attacked all of their biggest insecurities and shapeshifted and attacked them basically. And he had mastered this art because he had did it to black families of all sorts that pushed them all to the point of insanity. It was a lot of people don't really see it that way, but sometimes you just got to look at the deeper picture with a lot of these shows. Art imitates life, they always say.
Oh yeah. No, no question.
And it was basic. This guy basically was attacking these black families for years, driving them crazy, and he would attack each and every one of their weaknesses personally. And he had pushed them to the boiling point where they practically were about to kill each other. That basically is what we have nowadays. Like these corporations, these entities and groups, they know what to do to trigger us, basically. And it just amazes me like how people just don't see this stuff. Like, how do we keep continually falling for the same thing time and time again? And nobody ever seems to just say, look, hey, stop. Look, they want us to do this. And the people that do say it, they get ridiculed for it.
Oh, and not only that, hell, don't let the dollar bills get into it as well. Like, oh, please don't.
Oh,
The, the
those
moment that they
bills.
let the money, hopefully, if it's like again, if it's imagine how it would be, oh, if the money came in it, if there was also, again, like if they could benefit and profit,
Oh, yes. They're going to really perfect it then because
oh, it's like fuck,
we could get money off of this.
yeah, we could. It's,
And
it's like
that's
hell, it's like hell. It's like hell. It's been happening for so long on the other side. It's like, hey, well, then, hell, how come, you can't give us our reparations? Hell, give us our, dollar bills.
yeah, you're seeing that nowadays. Like now, there's like hate groups and hate crimes of people that you would never even think. Like, whoa, hold on, when did this start? And
Yeah,
it's only going to get worse, man. I'm telling you.
yeah, yeah. Like it's only gonna get worse before it gets any better.
Like, if you look at it, like they're just going, like one of the now there's like a police shooting of this guy like Adam Toledo, and this guy is Latin. So it's coming to the point where it's not just black people now; it's all groups of people. and it's
Oh
all
yeah.
pretty much getting intertwined into one that inevitable day when they all get us to the point where we say, well, yeah, well, y'all go ahead, just shut it all down. And once that happens, it's over. Because I hear a lot of people say, well, we'll just police our own communities. Yeah, and we see how that's turning out.
It turn again, like and what you mentioned about, Chicago with those two women that's running that's running the operations. Like again, this is what's gonna, again, like how you pointed out that this was gonna happen to all these, again, to rest of the communities like this if they continue to have, people who like you what's my man, the one that came over here, Caesar.
Yeah.
Like he was saying that, I truly believe that some of these people in there, they haven't read the Constitution.
No, no,
They,
they haven't,
he
clearly.
said if they haven't read the Constitution, then they're just only gonna read little bits and tad bit pieces. They're picking and choosing. And hell, I even heard, not too long ago, and it was a gang member, you know, in Chicago that said, well, Chicago ain't really a city, it's a nation. And I'm like, so imagine that. A nation of what?
I'm sure I'm confused could answer this question because he's from Chicago himself.
Oh, okay. And I'm not trying to, again, now I don't want to make it seem as though I'm offending anybody that's in, Chicago area, because I got people down there too.
Oh no,
And
no, no. I can't I can't really say too much about it because he knows I live pretty close to there. So whatever he's dealing with, I'm dealing with too.
oh, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you said that. Oh, y'all both in the Midwest. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can y'all brothers hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear
Loud and
you.
clear.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Hey, I just want to start off by saying that, I appreciate, that, you have a channel where us light skinned folks can just come and discuss our issues without having any sort of animosity or hatred, just thrown at us for no reason. We can actually discuss this openly. So I appreciate that. I just want to start out by saying that. And thank you so much.
Oh, no problem, man. Just
Yeah.
doing my part.
But yeah, I'm a 16 kit guitar. I'm the one that first commented when the live stream first started. And I just thought, I just go ahead and get my mic and everything kind of set up so I could kind of join the panel here to kind of give my 2 cents on what's going on in the in the country right now and how we need to go about this situation as light skinned people and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I agree. So you got any anything you like to bring to the table?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you guys have noticed this as of lately. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I just noticed is that I've noticed like every time one of these like shootings of a black person, typically, of course, they're brown or dark skinned, what have you. I've noticed now. This is just me. Maybe, like I said, maybe you guys have noticed this as well. That the feelings of these contemptuous feelings towards light skinned people typically get worse. I don't know if you've noticed that when these incidents seem to occur.
I have, you know what? I have noticed it, and it's
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you touching on something that, even I'm like, you know what, that does make a lot of sense, because it always does translate, back to us in the negative somehow.
right, right, exactly.
I
And and that's just, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that's just something that I've definitely taken, made a mental note of that every time one of these shootings of a black person happens in one of these inner cities and one of these cities all across the country somewhere, that I've noticed that it just as a again as a light skinned person that when I come to contact with a darker skinned person or what have you, that it's usually the animosity towards me seems to increase. I don't know. That's just again that just seems like something that's been taking place lately that I've noticed over the past few years.
Truth be told, a lot of these people, they kind of view us as, it's a weird space, honestly. Like we're, one second is like they view you as black, but at the same time they don't.
Right.
So it's like they view you as basically the white man of the black community, if that makes.
Right. Yeah, and, it's so funny you mentioned that because I have these discussions, because both my mother and myself, I'm light skinned and she's light skinned as well, and we're biologically we're both naturally black. I'm not like interracial like where I have, a black mother or white father or vice versa. But nonetheless, we've had these like discussions where I tell her that all the time. Like we all like the pretty much like the white people of the black community, if you will. So it's funny you mention that. Yeah, it's crazy.
In my family, it's pretty much on one side. In my family, it's pretty much all light skinned people, and the other side is pretty much all dark skinned people. So I,
Hmm.
for one, noticed it firsthand, like the differences and stuff. And
Yeah.
my mother has kind of touched on it a bit in her lifetime and what she's dealt with it with the rise of my channel, and she's been telling me a lot of interesting things about it.
Right.
And ultimately, I think there's a lot of people that want to talk about this, but they just, it's like you said, there's really not really platforms, and the platforms that are, like, I'm sure a non-black man and light skin motivation.
Oh yes, I love their channel. It was so sad to see them get shut down.
And it's like you can't really speak on it because, like, of course, on these other platforms with like the little pro all, they're not really going to want to hear that. They really only want to hear, like, I'm sure you guys know, like the ARJs, the Andrew Ramirez Jordans, the Stephen Browns. You're not
Yeah.
really going to be able
Yeah,
to go to that
yeah,
show.
yeah. As a matter of fact, I did actually write. There was a video of his that I wrote a comment on, and I forgot what I said entirely, but he never really got back to me. But and you and I'm not necessarily I'm all that because not saying I'm not all that concerned, but it was just something about the video while I was viewing it and looking at it. There was part of me that part of me kind of felt some type of way because it was like, oh man, I understand. It's like,
Hmm.
man, I understand. And not only again and plus you're Jamaican and Puerto Rican too, so and plus oh let's be real again everybody love themselves some Puerto Rican that they do and maybe some Jamaican as well. But however, if again what hell if hell the four of us again I'm just using this being using this as an example, all four of us could be walking down the street right now just
Right.
and we ain't even get and we wouldn't even know each other from a can of paint, and
Right.
we dialoguing, we having same type of cordial correspondence like we having right now,
Right.
and all it's probably gonna probably take is just that one bad apple or that one bad seed that's just gonna fuck literally everything up.
Right.
Even if we wasn't even on that tip, it's like, come on, man. Like, can I at least, get at least in big cities, again, like New York or even LA or even Las Vegas, nobody can tell me that, oh, you're not gonna have a conversation with somebody that you don't know. You can't nobody can tell me that.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But,
I
but go ahead. Sorry about that, man.
Oh no, you can continue. I was just gonna add a little something to it.
Yeah, but then again though, but it's like, but hell, if when the only when the women like when the women come into the mix though, when it's a women thing, oh now it didn't really done skyrocketed. Now you taking it as a like you getting all the women. I am. Hell, I would have never known.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was recently watching a video, and it was this guy, of course, a black guy. He was
Yeah.
kind of light skinned, but he was on this video talking about how you guys don't got nothing to complain about. You think it matters that you're light skinned? No, you all you need is game, bro. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
game, true, but if you got game like that, you shouldn't have to go around and just announce, "Oh, look at me, I got game, I got all the chicks."
Hmm.
Like, no, that's one of those things that you see it to believe it. Because anybody can just sit up here and say, "Oh, look, I got game," but and that's the thing with I was watching him earlier today, and I kind of get that vibe from him. It's like he says he gets all the attention, but then it's like, do you?
And you know what? To me, it's like it's to me, it's like he has to have something that people are gonna buy into, or it's like he has to again, and it's sad to say that people like that, unfortunately, yes, they have an audience that's gonna fall for the okie doke. And even regarding game, I'm like, yeah, but game can only get. It's like, yeah, you can only have a mouthpiece for so long, but it's like but when you go about it, just becoming a little extra. See me, and I'm just only speaking for myself. It's like I wasn't necessarily, if I was going to talk to women, like I talk to women, not necessarily going, all out of bounds. I'm like, no, I'm gonna talk to you like you're a regular person, and of course, I always had to be that one that had to be the comedian, even though I'm not a comedian, but just if I could make you laugh, well then, hey, I'm like that. That's a start.
Right. Yeah,
And
I
this
agree.
and this dude, I don't even think he even even touched on. It's like if you could make a girl laugh, I mean, yeah, she could be interested or not, but at the end of the day, I'm like, hell, that was me. Like I didn't feel that I had to, again, step out of character as to why I should present myself this way as being being as oh, I got all the game in the world, so here, come on, get in my here, be with me. Like no, and to me, that's kind of like some out of touch stuff.
Yeah, and it's like I just laugh when I see these guys. Like they just act like, oh well, yeah, game this and game that. Mom, like, why do you have to announce it then? It's like, well, there's some people that don't even really have to say anything at all. Like I've seen like dudes, they don't even say anything at all and get attention. It's like, oh well, such and so and so. It's one of those things like if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. Because I've seen guys that barely had to say anything that got somebody.
The thing is, most of these dudes that talk like this have ego problems to begin with.
Yeah, and it's like, well, okay. And but then I'm looking at this other guy like Stephen Brown. Now, this guy, he's a prime example of what I talk about on my channel. This guy basically has made his whole audience is basically built around like darker skinned people, and he basically I've seen literally seen comments where this guy has basically been letting dudes like I comment on his channel every now and then, but I don't say too much. And I said basically the same things I say on my channel, and his audience basically attacks me. So I'm like, how is a light skinned man getting attacked for speaking light skinned issues on a light skinned man's channel? Like, how does that make sense? And it's and it's like Andrew Ramirez Jordan. I can't even comment on it. He got me blocked for some reason. So I don't know.
You know, I don't understand that either. You know, I guess because if you're not, I guess if somebody feels like, you know, if they're not necessarily part of the conversation, and if they feel that, you know, it's like where that conversation is going, they immediately just gotta have something to say because that's what's gonna make them feel good. It's like they need something to go to sleep at night.
Right. Yeah.
Because number one, it's like, you know, and unfortunately, I wouldn't even let people like that always gotta feel the need to chime in regardless if anything ain't, you know, catering to. I'm like, what makes you think if you're acting this way, especially on the internet, in the comment section, well then what makes you think I would want you in my circle, my personal circle that is.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that because these and again, I just try to stay away from the channels because it comes to a point now where it's like if there's like a channel where you just don't really align with what they're talking about, a lot of times it's just best not to even talk to them because trust and believe me, it's going to be basically like Rambo over there. It's
Yeah.
going to be you against practically the whole sector.
And you know what? I was getting ready to say something, and I'm probably gonna make a lot of cages rattled, but hey, they was gonna get rattled anyway. I'm pretty sure y'all know what TS is.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine if
Yeah.
now everybody knows who TS is, what he looks like, right? Now
Hmm.
again, he says the most outlandish stuff about folks that look like him, from the how black they are to the color of his microphone and to the color of his skin, all that. It's like, yeah, they'll address it, but I feel like they only touch on it a tad bit. It's not really all that extreme. Now, if he was saying the things that he was saying about people that look like us, they gonna jump up and down, be like, yeah, yeah, go ahead, TS, yeah, keep talking about them. And it's like, you mean it's like, so you want to talk about conspiracy? Then that's just again how I feel that y'all he say something about y'all don't really give it that much traction like you do us.
Well, anytime it involves a light skinned person, especially a light skinned male at that, it's going to be amplified, tenfold.
Right.
Yeah, true. Yeah. No, I know. I've heard of. I'm sure. There's somebody that's a part of my channel, and she said that TS has basically had a lot of like run-ins with. He talks about light skinned people a lot, believe it or not, on his channel.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, this guy says a whole bunch of outlandish things,
Outlandish stuff about people that look like him, same complexion.
but he doesn't. He's also said a lot of outlandish things But the thing with him is his beef isn't so much with now it is most definitely, but he's
You
definitely
know,
has
you
more of a
know,
beef with us.
guys. I don't mean to interrupt you while you're talking, but I thought I'd just add this fact into the conversation here. I recall in a video he did probably about 2 3 years ago. Of course, most of his videos get taken down after a while anyway, but he admitted that he hates people all complexion anyway. He sure did. I kid you not. So
Well, you see, that just goes back to what my last video was about. Now he can say things like that, and there'll be people that'll say, "Oh yeah, I agree," because they're stuck up and they're this and they're that. But take one of us, and we were to go and say any of that stuff that he says on his video, and we're our channel would be gone so fast. Like they feel some types of ways about the stuff that I say, and I don't really even like go out and like address them in that kind of way. I wouldn't do that, but they still get triggered by what I say for some reason.
Hey, you doing something? Then you doing something right then. Apparently, if if they getting triggered like that, then
exactly.
you doing something that they wish they could do, but they can't. So and
Okay, now
somehow,
Discreet Geek is dropping facts. Now listen, Angel Ramirez put his heart and soul into creating a light-skinned male, dark-skinned female alliance when they contribute to light-skinned man's emasculation, despite being masculinized from it. And you know what? That you might as well throw Stephen Brown in there too, because he's like that too. He it's like, how do y'all feel personally about those unions? I'll probably drop my opinion, but what do y'all think of what he said?
well, you know what? Like, well, I don't really again view Stephen. I mean, I've heard of Stephen Brown, but I haven't necessarily like watched the video. But there will be like certain titles that I would see that would just have you just if the moment that you read it, you just go like, "What the hell are you doing?" And then it's like there's part of me that just feels like, "Come on, it's like I know you got it in you. You know you got it in you, but don't let these people on the internet just steer you in this direction. Please don't."
Yeah, I've never actually seen any of his content. Matter of fact, up until a few moments ago, I've never heard of this Brown fella.
But the only but and another thing is that the only person that I probably may have heard reference him was Chrissy.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, man. And I'm like, you like, oh well, that it ain't gonna be they ain't gonna fight for us. Well, why should we? I'm like, well, didn't you say that you're already taken? And again, no one is saying that you have to.
anybody that's getting endorsed by her, that is a massive. Uh,
Uh,
trust me, I've came across her channel a little bit, and trust me, she hates light skinned women.
Yeah, she says some inflammatory things about light skinned women. She certainly does. Yeah, and you can definitely tell it's nothing but deep seated insecurity that motivates her to say those things.
like what was that? What's that one girl's name? I heard her. She was going back and forth with, and she kept calling her a pick me,
What?
a pick.
What? Paris Milan?
Nah, I don't think it was Paris. I think her name is maybe Jessica X or X Jessica. She's from the UK, I believe.
Oh yeah, just Jessica X. Yeah, yeah, I know.
And I'm like, and it's like you can only I'm like, was there anything that Jessica X says that you can point out as to why, I should feel some type of way because you feel this? Because going back to, again, you say that the men point out they want the attention. Well, isn't that what you're doing? Isn't that, again, isn't it the same thing? Because Jessica X doesn't necessarily really do the man shaming, not from what I've seen anyway. But you have like, but as far as she goes, Chrissy, it's like you have how many videos, and yet how much men shaming you do throughout the entire video uh, catalog.
That's where she's made her money at. She got whole magazines now.
Wow.
And it's like, if you look at her, there's actually, honestly, this just goes back to what I was saying before. She's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Thousands. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, sometimes I just go there and look through our comment section, and you never see not like one person that's saying, "Oh, stop! There's light skinned people in our family," because there's a lot of people that come over here and say, "Oh, well, yeah, there's dark skinned people in your family." Okay, true, but they never go over there and say that. So it's like, well, we could say the same thing, and y'all aren't stopping her from talking.
Right. And you know what? And another thing is that, again, like Brown and Beige, like I said, like how I got hooked to your channel, I just happened to do a little bit of searching and stuff, and there was a title. I forget the name of it, but I clicked on that, and I was just like, the every word that you were saying throughout that entire video. Um, I was just like, man, like if I could just say this, is like, because deep down, like some of the people that's doing this stuff, like, cause hell, deep down, they're their own worst enemy. They're their own worst enemy, and so people who are their own worst enemy is gonna make you automatically feel like you should be your own worst. Like if people are so uncomfortable in their own skin, then what do you think, is gonna take place? They're gonna make you feel the same way too, because they are. And another thing, and again, and this idea of, well, light skin or golden folks ain't, never really black. Well, I'm like, well, like I remember somebody saying a long time ago that someone like I don't know if it was Beyonce or somebody that I think they may be, biracial, that how they're not black, and then I came with a comment, saying something like, well, explain to me how they're the same as a racist redneck from the South. And now maybe somebody can answer me that, but I don't think I got a response.
Yeah, they of course they ain't gonna have a response. That's one of those. It's one of those like mic drop moments. It's like,
Yeah.
oh snap. Don't really got nothing to say about that one.
No. And me, and again, it's like, and yeah, and even when, if I would like to step out, if I step out, again, just for a little bit, and hell, even growing up, it's like, oh, you got green hazel eyes. I'm like, yeah, I know, and thank you. And what's next?
I think what a lot of people they get it kind of screwed up. They think, oh well, yeah, you got colored eyes, so you get to pick and choose who you want. But sometimes what a lot of people don't realize, yeah, who are you really getting though? That's the thing. Like if you're getting people that like just fetishize your looks and stuff, it's like, yeah, is that really something that you should like strive to want? Like people that like, oh look, he got colored eyes. Oh, I bet you I can get pretty
Yeah,
babies and all. Like, is that really somebody? Okay, so, and I've seen this. This is something else that I don't really like. I'll be seeing like a lot of these chicks, and they be having like they could be like real dark, and they be having babies with like curly hair and green eyes. I'm thinking to myself, and a lot of times they be alone, so it's like once they do get the baby, do those relationships even last after that?
Right. But yet they'll accuse the men of doing the same thing. It's like, why are you trying to compare what men do when yet you should be, again, what men do in comparison to what women do. I mean, you're a totally different gender from us. So if you again, and if and if that's like their default argument to just to go back and try to, throw throw a monkey wrench in it. I'm gonna tell you why you're throwing that wrench, because you know you're gonna make yourself look stupid as far as that fetish sizing and all that shit. And another thing is, and going back to the to what you just said, like I remember I was just getting off of work and I was gonna go pick myself up some food from Albertsons, and there was this woman and this baby that came out the store, and I was already tired anyway. I really didn't even want to look at anybody, but all of a sudden this baby just happened just to look at me and just says "daddy" in the baby voice.
Oh,
Yeah,
What?
right. It was like this baby was like "daddy," and I'm looking like, I don't know you. I'm not your daddy. But and, and my mom was with me, and my I don't get I love her, but there's just certain things to where it's just like, I'm like, there's just certain things you can laugh at, but then there's just certain things to the moment that it gets out of hand. And even the baby's mom was like, "That's not your daddy." And I didn't even really get a good look at what the girl looked like, anyway. I just saw a baby, and I just heard the words "daddy," and we still laugh about that till this day. And
it makes you wonder sometimes, though. It's
yeah,
like,
it does. And that's the thing too. It's like, even the baby was, again, golden, light golden, honey golden. Yeah, honey light golden.
so
And
what was the girls look like? Was she like light, dark, or
I think she may have been a dark brown.
yeah, yeah, I see that a lot where I'm
Yeah,
from. I
a
know.
very dark brown. And because my mom got a better shot at her face wise than I did. And she was like, just so you know, the girl wasn't all that pretty. And I'm not being mean, but I'm just saying, she didn't look that pretty. And I'm like, I wonder, and I'm wondering, well, who did she end up laying up with?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Where I'm from, I be seeing like a lot of light skinned dudes, and they be like some chicks like, like how when you just look at somebody and you be like, oh yeah, yeah, he got a winner there, and then you look at somebody who's like, you could have done a little better than that, bro.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, go ahead.
I've seen that a lot where I'm from, honestly.
It really just and again, it just really makes you think: is there really all this hope in the world for humanity? Now I understand that, again, everybody's, and of course, and they love using that. Well, everybody's for somebody. Uh, yeah, but depending on what it's based upon, though.
Right? Because there's people that you would think they love you and they're in it for like a whole different reason. Because you hear that a lot, like in like the male like colorism spectrum in YouTube. They always say, "Oh well, yeah, they like men with like light hair or no like curly hair and light eyes and all that." It's like, okay, who we talking about here? We talking about tens or fives?
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
again, and if you're gonna say that, that it's just basically a person of color thing, I'm like, hell, I could, again, I could name you, quite a few white folks that'll get these two out of tens or threes out of tens, and they got money out the wazoo. Hell, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, oh, don't think that he was always with Maria. I forget what her last name is, but even when he was, in the prime of his career, he would be with these women that was like two or three out of tens. And you think it's like, man, with all that money, I'm like, you mean to tell me you couldn't do anything? You couldn't pick better?
I think her name is Maria Shriver. I think that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Two out of ten. And whoever, I forget I don't know if she's ever been married, but even Sarah Jessica Parker, the one who played, of course, Sex in the City.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of torn because back then and even somewhat now, they would say, "Oh, she's ugly. Oh, she's just," but, and I'm like, well, what makes her ugly? Her face or her body? Like,
Yeah,
like,
people throw that word around a lot of times, but sometimes it's just one of those in the eyes of the beholder kind of thing.
yeah. And that's what they seem to, always overlook every single time. But you know it though. But then again though, I do want to somewhat touch on the point about what does the defunding police mean to
Oh
means for
yeah,
light
yeah,
skinned
yeah,
people.
definitely.
Yeah, I want to touch back on that myself.
Yeah. To
All
me,
right.
to me at this point, I'm just like well, I can't really say that I do know because I really don't know. But if because again, it's like if communities that are like pretty much like lower class neighborhood, like lower class neighborhoods or subdivisions or what have you, if they're already at a point of no return, then all of a sudden it's like whatever light skinned folk or golden folk just happen to be in the midst. I part of me just wants to say that hell, I don't even think that it's like it kind of should, but it really shouldn't because it's like well, what's everybody wants to say black agenda, but hell, what about the beige agenda or the brown and beige agenda? To because again, no one rarely talks about that though. Nobody.
Well, you're going into some muddy waters when you're talking about that. You think of well, I like to look at it from this perspective.
Yeah,
If you look at like a lot of these colorism channels,
yeah,
and a lot of these people that spew these hateful rhetoric, they don't really get. It's not like on our channels where there's always this people that say like, "Oh well, what y'all doing is wrong." No, these people are like they add fuel to the gasoline basically. So when you think about it, doesn't it make you think if they got the chance, that we would be one of the first people they go after, since they can't really go after anybody else without the whole community being on their neck.
Hmm.
And we're not really like a class. We're pretty much like a class that's basically thrown in the closet at this point.
We're, more or less we're a minority within a minority.
Right. So it's like a lot of people really aren't going to go out of their way to like say, oh well, yeah, this is wrong. But and it doesn't help matters that we pretty much giving the mic to people who really, you could pretty much say that they're just puppets for like the like the main like major groups.
Yeah,
They're just
right.
going to say what they say to just fit in. They're not going to really say anything to ruffle any feathers or anything like that.
Is it all right if I add my 2 cents right quick on this matter?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, as far as like this with this whole agenda of defunding the police, as well as like I had even wrote in the comment section earlier with trying to take away our rights to keep and bear arms. As far as where that leaves us light skinned folks, I think that definitely will leave us in a very, very, very highly vulnerable position. Because of course, like I think what's already been stated and is already factual that we're pretty much seen as the white people of the black community, more or less, and we'll just be easy targets. We'll just walking around with easy targets on our back, and we'd be the first ones to be attacked if such things would occur in the very near future. It leaves us in a very bad position, and I definitely implore and encourage all of us to go out, but before it's too late to buy firearms to protect ourselves or any other means of protection, because I really don't think it's going to be it's going to be too pretty after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And it's I hear a lot of these stories. It's like these women that be talking about like, oh yeah, my hair is getting cut, my hair is pulled, and yeah, I've heard about it. And it's like, if defunding the police, like you just look at all these videos and see all these light skinned women that just be getting beat up. And it's like, just imagine what would happen if the police didn't get involved. Like they would, and don't think for a second people wouldn't be jumping us too. So it's like you said, we're all pretty much in a vulnerable state. But the thing that gets me is there are like light skinned men and light skinned women that just are on the front lines that are actually condoning this. Like they're the ones that's screaming about this the most. So it's like it comes to a point like you're basically fighting against your own detriment, basically.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because you got these multiple, conflicts that you battling and trying to pick one of just to where it's like they got the advantage. Meanwhile, you're just on an island trying to fend for yourself as much as you possibly can, and it's like and going back to your point that you made about the girls getting held. Matter of fact, on Instagram, like there was a girl who had posted up some pictures of her being attacked, and she was like in the hospital. They broke her arm. They gave her a knot on her forehead, and this was by four heavy set girls.
Oh wow.
And I'm
Oh
like, okay, so these four heavy set girls. I wonder, I wonder what did they look like. See
yeah.
that?
Well, more than likely they were probably brown or dark skin, probably
Yep.
very likely.
And get over a man,
Hmm.
over a man.
Yeah, that's usually the case. Or who ate the last piece of fried chicken in the bucket or something like
Yeah,
that.
right. It was one.
Yeah.
one of them kind of situations, though.
Yeah, and I've seen like back when like A9 Black Man and Light Skin Motivation was on. They used to have like plenty of videos talking about situations like that. And I'm confused. He talked about it for a brief time about how we need like self defense. And
Hmm.
they're actually I was talking about this in another one of my streams. And I got a comment from somebody saying, "Well, what you need to buy weapons for?" And I'm thinking, like, what do you think we need to buy weapons for? And it's like they wanted to make a big issue out of that. Like, well, what do you think we're supposed to do here?
No, I guess we're just supposed to be sitting ducks and just
Ju-
allow everybody in the world to take advantage of us and stomp on us and whatnot. I guess that's what they think.
Yeah.
You
See,
know,
hell, and I got two, and hell, and I got two knives that I have to at times carry with me on a regular basis, just in case shit go down. Now, of course, somebody gonna be like, "Oh, well, what you gonna do?" Is like, if they have a gun, it's like, well, you don't think I know how to shoot a gun, or let alone load a clip?
Oh yeah, and that's something else. Like, and I was watching like right before I started this stream. I was watching like when I was talking about that documentary. Like,
Yeah,
and these guys, they had were walking up and down with AK-47s. Now, keep in mind, these are gangs. They're talking about gun control and all of this, and these gangs are walking around with AK-47s. If they abolish the police force, we're basically having to go against gangs of AK-47s with what, like kitchen knives?
yeah,
And it's like when you think about it, it's like, and it's like what Caesar said at the beginning of the stream. It's like it's coming to the point now where I think down the line, people are going to have to move out of these places in mass because with the laws that they're trying to pass now, you're just going to be a sitting duck to these guys.
yeah. Just be the predator. Yeah, again, they'll be the predators. Meanwhile, you the prey.
You're the gazelle, basically.
Yeah.
And they're the cheetahs.
Hmm.
So it's
So
like when you look at it, it's like I don't understand. Like there are so many people in mass that are basically fighting for this to happen. It's like what what are you fighting for here? What's the deal?
and you know what? Then there are times where I wondered the same thing because even if again, like even if we do put our necks on the line, again historically, which we have, and yet we act as though that well, not I know, well, I don't, but certain people act as though, oh, that never take place. I'm like, oh, well, just because you don't want to believe it didn't take place, don't mean that it did or didn't. And if they somehow believe that, it's like, even with that defunding of the police, and you basically want us to, it's like, well, and it's like, and I don't know if you've been hearing about this, but there's just been so many rumblings of, well, they may end up in starting their own Wakanda. I'm like, okay, you want to start your own Wakanda, but the thing is, we're not united, and y'all are not united. Like, how are you gonna, deal with the bad apples?
Well, in their minds, they think that basically everybody is a king and queen when that's just simply not the case. Like even if you look at the Black Panther movie, those were Black Panther himself was a brainiac. His sister was, and they knew how to work all the technologies and stuff. You weren't bringing like the killmongers. They weren't going to do anything with all those weaponry. So it's like even when they use that as a reference, they don't realize that You're not going to be a part of that. It's just the truth,
Right.
man. I mean,
Yeah, it's like, oh well, it's not necessarily like how the way it used to be, and everybody gets to play. No, everybody don't get to play.
Hmm.
Just you know what, just the like just the thought of that, hell, just makes me want to drink nowadays. And it's been and again, and I ain't had a drink in how long because of this bullshit.
yeah, you're
Oh
not
man.
wrong there, man. Not at all.
But yeah, though, but then again, though, but I'm just like, because well, hell, I probably might be stepping in some more muddy waters here, but in these people's minds, if they feel that this is the way to go, well then let's see how this is gonna turn out. Let's grab our popcorns. Let's get our 1 liter of soda, get our barbecue grills going, and let's see how this all turns out.
Yeah, it definitely makes you like that. But it's like Caesar said, I just feel for like the younger generation, like the
Yeah,
fours and fives. It's like they're basically going to be in the crosshairs of all this madness. And it's like you want to just say like, oh man, there's not really anything you can do. So like you just walk away, but then you just think like, oh man, because these guys look like they be killing like these be like young like 3 or 4 year olds that these guys be shooting.
Yeah,
and
that brings that as a matter of fact, now that you said that, that kind of reminds me of that story. I'm quite sure you guys have probably saw that about that 7-year-old girl that got killed in that drive by.
I think I heard about. I think that was in Chicago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. They were like in a McDonald's drive-through line, and they just came, rolled up, and just shot the car. That poor little girl like that. Bunch of savages.
Oh
damn, that's
yeah,
fucked, man. Fucked up.
Yeah, these, I find it so, funny and amazing that these, black people always talk about, black empowerment and so on and so forth, and you know, you know, white people are the devil and all this other crap that like to spew out this rhetoric, so to speak, but they do more damage to themselves than anybody else could ever do. It's crazy. It's mind numbing. It really is.
and you could respect them more, but it's like when you tell them this, a lot of times they just be like, "Well, it's not our fault; it's the system's fault."
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, depending on how depending on how messed up they are in the head, heck, they'll even go further with it. Hell, they'll put their you and try to hurt you. They sure will.
Yeah, they'll try to make it like you're the bad guy for saying. Trust me, I really don't. I don't really talk about like any of these issues like that I talk about now, like in public, because where I'm from, if you said the kind of stuff that we be saying on this channel,
Oh, you
oh,
probably get killed.
Yeah.
you get shot.
Right.
Yeah, I already knew that. I figured as much. Wow. Yeah.
You get shot, or you're just going to get punched in the face and beat up by a lot of people.
And that's something that I want to bring up too. It's just just like as a compare and contrast. Like, of course, I don't have many black friends. Never did. Never liked me. For many different reasons. I was, of course, too light. Didn't act black enough. We've all been there. I don't even have to go into huge details about it, but like most of the friends I have, now, of course, white or some other race, Asian, Hispanic. and it's just amazes me. I can have an open dialogue with them about almost anything, and they most of them usually won't get offended by anything I say, and I can talk about it transparently and just open and honestly with them. But if you try to approach a black person and be honest and transparent and truthful with them, like I said, they want to hurt you. They want to make sure something, physically, no physical harm comes your way just for speaking what's right, speaking the truth. So it's definitely something that with black people specifically that's missing or at some point in time was taken away. It's hard to pinpoint, but I just thought I'd throw that in there.
If I had to put my money on it, I would say that it's kind of like going back to what I was saying with that whole them movie. It's like the buttons have been like pushed basically.
Hmm.
Like like we pretty much been coddled to the point now where it's like you hear so much about how the system, the victimhood, and all that. That is like when you talk about accountability, you can't. It's almost like a infantile mind, sort of say. It's like, oh well, he didn't mean to do it. He's young and he's like not mature enough to see what he's doing wrong, and that's kind of like the mindset that a lot of black people have taken because of this whole victimization and everything. It's like you can't really like say like call out like the dysfunction is like because oh well the so and so man pretty much started it, so
Hmm.
it's not really your fault for acting on it.
Hmm. Yeah, this whole victim as well as entitlement mentality has pretty much destroyed the black community. It's been the biggest damaging forces that could have ever taken the black community by storm, or at least what's left of it, if there is anything left of it.
But then it's like if you ask them this question, okay, you're right. We all know racism is always going to be around. But let's
Exactly.
ask this question. Look at the black people in the 50s and the early 30s that had to endure
Exactly.
real racism. Not the
Exactly.
little sugar coated stuff we deal with nowadays. Trust me,
Exactly.
there's some people that are so delusional, they will tell you that it's just as bad now as it was back then. And
That's
I'm like,
BS.
you
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of
That
garbage.
is BS. Yeah, and I hear that type
If
of
I
crap
ever
talk
heard
too. Yeah.
that, like, nah, like, cause what we have in comparisons to what again, that previous generation that came before us didn't have was the technology.
The racism that any person of color comes into comes into face with today doesn't compare to the racism that our ancestors and our relatives, 90, 80, 70 years ago experienced. Heck, even 50 years ago experienced. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. And to even try to make a compare and contrast between 60, 70 years ago and now, as far as racism is concerned, you need to have your head examined for that. You do. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not.
And the thing is, it's like it's like, are you really walking around with ball, walking in ball and chains every day?
like, is
And
there
Well, this is something that I want to just, from my experience and observation throughout the years and just coming to different conclusions rather, and realizations of things and whatnot. The fact of the matter is, the truth of the matter is, slavery never truly ended. It evolved. Instead of being bound by chains and shackles, it all became mental.
exactly, and That's what we were talking about earlier in the stream with that like Amazon show. It's mental at this point. It's not physical.
Exactly. It's all psychological.
And you know what? And now that you just said that, it's like, you know what? And there's this somebody also pointed out, and it's like they say that y'all want to necessarily to have a dialogue. Well, it's like, well, how about to have a dialogue on mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
especially not just just not in this country, but again, but with us, the black mental health,
Right. Yeah.
and then it's sure enough, it's like, okay, are we gonna have this conversation now, or is it just still gonna be the same? And okay, I'm looking at a comment that Light Bright put up about how Kanye West said we choose to be slaves, and they got on him. I'm like, well, he wasn't entirely wrong.
No, oh yeah, they chopped put him on the chopping block for that comment.
Yeah,
And in a way, it's this is the part of history that a lot of people don't really talk about. And it's like using common sense. Just think of it like this is where a lot of these slave shows and movies got it wrong. Like those slave masters can't just come to like a climate that they don't know the terrain, don't know any of that. They aren't just going to come to an unknown continent and just kidnap people. No, they had what's the word I'm looking for?
Intel.
Access. Yeah, a lot of those people that were slaves were sold by those African kings. And that's the part that people just never really seem to bring up when talking about slavery.
Oh, they completely ignore that fact entirely.
So in a twisted way, what Kanye's saying was actually correct in a way.
yeah.
But you're not really going to hear that too much from too many people. Oh, hey LSP.
Hey, what's going on? Speaking of victims, this victim thing is getting very, very tiring.
You
All
got
these victims, they all, these convicts, former convicts and stuff. Why they march for these convicts? They can just march for these children.
Exactly.
Like, especially, little Cannon was not black, but he was a white child, but he was 5 years old, but he didn't even he didn't have a chance to live.
Oh, the one that got shot in the
Yeah,
head.
last summer.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah, all
remember
these
that.
were
That was so
victims.
sad.
oh
Yeah, I'm
yeah, I
sick and
remember
tired of
that.
these people marching these convicted felons. This is getting tiring.
Well, that's another thing that I've noticed and observed and taken a mental note of with the black community. They love to make martyrs out of fools.
Yeah, they make a fool of these people.
I really have yet to see one that wasn't. It's like I could see if it's like a crystal clean person, like, oh yeah, this person didn't do nothing wrong. But it's like every last one of these, even the girl, even if you look at the video, like everyone's seen it. The girl was about to stab the other girl, like she was about to just go to town on her, like
Hmm.
Yeah,
the way
Hmm.
she was
and
positioned, she was about to
Yeah,
go right in her arteries, like
yeah.
yeah,
real,
if
like
she had dropped that weapon, she probably was still alive. That police have officer came out the car and hollering, "Get on the ground, get on the ground." She trying to continue trying to stab that one to pink.
You
If she
you
had
know
dropped the weapon, lay on the ground, she probably would still been alive.
that's totally true. But another thing I noticed about that whole situation is I find it so ironic that you had a bunch of grown folks just standing up there, seeing a bunch of pretty much kids running,
Yeah,
running around, not, just acting foolish and hurting each other and trying to hurt each other at least. they're not doing anything. But as soon as this officer, and of course him being who he is, as soon as he shoots this young lady, oh, now all hell breaks loose all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Now it's a problem.
they
You
had
know
plenty of time to break that fight up.
exactly. That's exactly my point. So
And the girl's father with the knife, I heard that he kicked the girl, the young lady, in the head and in the ground. I'm
Now
saying the
see,
cop was coming out the car. I know he was overwhelmed when he got that gun, telling get on the ground, get on the ground. He was going after the girl with the knife.
see, I didn't even hear about that whole
The
part of the
girl on the
story.
ground, I saw some man kicked her in the head. It was a lady in the black tank top and shorts, and he kicked her in the head.
yep.
See, I didn't even know about that part of the story.
Yep.
All I know is with the knife. I never even heard of that.
And then I saw two other police officers on the ground. I saw a black police officer, and I forgot it was another was a white one. I just most of the focus on the one who came out the car with the gun.
This funny. This also begs the question. This young lady had both a mother and a father apparently, and a father was present at the time, as we all know. This begs the question: what was she doing in a foster home to begin with?
Yeah, I was wondering. Unless the mother's on drugs, she had it too early, the girl was out of control. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she could have got the girl some help before she went to foster care or something, or somebody could have got some help.
But now,
It's just when it comes to me personally, I just pick up and notice these small details that most people would typically overlook. So, but I just find that whole situation ironic. But it's another one of those situations nonetheless. So we'll see how it goes.
okay, we see. I see that hybrid vigor has joined the chat. How's it going, hybrid?
You must have a
Okay.
hard time getting in.
All right, I'll just let them get set up for a minute.
Oh,
But now, I believe now she's going to be the next Breonna Taylor at this point. And honestly, I was, at least in Breonna Taylor's case, now I'll admit they had a good point with her. I mean, she really didn't do anything per se, but this girl that they got now, no. But she's probably going to get a statue.
for what? I'm saying fake victims.
I'm
all the
just,
black all the black children that die every day by the hands of other black people, and they don't ever get a statue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Trayvon Martin, I see that. Or Michael Gray, yes. Or Emmett Till, yes, but these not real victims.
yeah, I think it's coming to the point they're just, and now it's just coming to the point like this is becoming like an everyday thing now. It's like there's like a new person every day. Like the second we get off of George Floyd now, boom, here comes this girl. And it's like, when will the madness end?
Yeah, well, 30 minutes after the convict, after the incident, after his George Foreman, whatever his name is, and this young lady got shot. I'm trying to figure out what on the police side of the story, and I figure out the girl's at fault. She should have put a weapon down.
It's like you never hear, we don't even know the name of the girl in pink.
Yeah, everybody wants to know.
We sure know her name, but it's like pink girl is like the cop basically saved the girl in pink's life because the way she was positioning the knife, it would have, she was trying to go like right in the artery. That's the part that she would have, how big that knife was, if she would have been stabbed, she would have died.
Yeah,
And
and
of
then they'll
course,
sue him.
you wouldn't have any hashtags for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and I heard about the mother trying to sue the foster parents. I'm saying like, why are you suing them? I'm saying you don't should be sued. Can you try to figure out why she's in care, foster care?
And I heard from somewhere that somebody said she was a honor student. I'm like, okay,
Okay, got them mixed up with somebody else.
are we talking about the same person here? Talk
Well,
about
we said
having a bad day, but it's like you. We're going to hear all types of stories about how good of a person she was, and she was a good kid and all that. But yet she's about to kill somebody, basically.
yeah.
she didn't do nothing.
Oh no, they never do nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you are. But yeah, here you are with a knife in your hand, getting ready to do some real harm to where you get ready to take somebody. It's like, again, you really must have been very determined that the way, like you were saying, how that knife was positioned to really do some bodily harm.
On top of that, why she called the police and talk about a knife? How come you just can just fight her with a fist?
Those are the days where those are the days that I miss at times. But now you necessarily can't fight no more without, again, without a weapon being involved. A knife this, a gun this, a stick, or
Or none of those things, then
yeah.
you
It
get
was.
jumped
It can't
by some.
necessarily be no hand to hand. Shoot, hell, at me now. I know I'm not necessarily like the biggest dude in the world, but but I'm not all that concerned. But that don't necessarily mean that I picked up a thing or two. Like I was constantly hitting dudes, hitting mugs in the balls.
Yeah, but it's like nowadays, it's like either if it's not, even if it's not really a weapon, it's like
Yeah,
then it's like people they're getting their cousins, their uncles, their friends. So it's like 1 against 10 practically now.
yeah.
Yeah, they like to gang up on you.
It's like never like it just
Especially when especially when when it's the person that they was in the wrong.
yeah,
Like
never.
it's always the main ones like that know that that's been doing the fucking up with them be the ones to go and tell what oh I got attacked. No, what you're not gonna do is tell how you were the instigator. Or what you're not gonna do is tell people, it's like it's always somebody else's retaliations that get pointed out, but never what the person did first, kind of thing.
It's like you always hear one side of the story. You never
Oh
hear
yeah,
like
yeah,
the other side.
yeah,
Like how did we get to that point? How did what was said before? What escalated the situation? Is always the person. We always hear the end of it, never the beginning.
yeah. So again, like that, talk about it's like everybody want to talk about the reaction, but never what took place first. And when you do that, now you got this. So he said, she said, to where things really get complicated. So you have no. So again, it's like, all right, well, so you get put in a tough position. So now there's really nothing here to go forward. It's like, so who's really the victim and who's really the perpetrator?
Well, nowadays it's coming to the point where it's like it's all like getting meshed together. It's like there really isn't one. It's
Yeah,
like there's not really like a universal thing. It's like well, I think so and so is, but then I think also think that the other person is like, yeah, there there isn't like a clear victim in the whole thing. But there's also something else that I wanted to touch up on. So I was there was a story like a year ago of this like she was like a college student. Her name was Anaya Blanchard, and she basically had got like a little media attention because she had went missing for a bit, and people was wondering like, oh, she was one of the reasons she really got like attention was because she was like the stepdaughter of, like a UFC fighter, and right before he fought, and she had went missing, and everybody. I was on like a platform by somebody else,
Yeah.
and there was this guy talking about, oh, it's probably a case of swirling gone wrong. Okay, but then finally they find her. This guy comes out. And I got a picture of him on one of my YouTube thumbnails, and they discovered that he was a person of interest. Come to find out, this girl had basically been kidnapped and was killed by basically these three guys. And lo and behold, once they figured that out, and once they found her, she just dropped off the face of the earth. I was like, wow. Now keep in mind, there was people that was ready to run with this story when they thought that she was like a case of one of those swirling stories gone wrong. But once they figured out that she was killed by three black men, so that story went gone. She was
Wow.
biracial too, by the
I
way.
had never heard of it. Wow.
And it's like with situations like this, it's like the narrative has just been controlled and manipulated so much. There's like they now it's like people just pick and choose like who like and even with the documentary I was watching, there was this one lady with like a young son that practically he was killed basically by getting hit with a club and jumped like by a bunch of people. And it's like the only one who really even knew the guy's name was her. And she had a picture of him and she was really distraught about it. But of course, his name's not a hashtag. It's just George Floyd and all that. So I think, what's your opinion on that?
I saw the whole video about when they got him out the SUV, and he was there apologizing. They said he was high at the scene when the police officer put his knee on his neck. They said he was on drugs when they had the incident started. I said, how come he didn't come out the car and told like he was told instead of refusing? He could have been still alive as well.
Yeah.
It's like I'm glad the cop got convicted because I already know if they there was like some people that would just wait if he wouldn't have got convicted. Oh, Minneapolis, like these little Midwest cities, oh, they would have went up in
Yeah,
the smoke.
yeah, he does deserve some time, but also if he hadn't resisted, he probably would still been alive as well.
Right.
I agree.
Instead of refusing, he should just resist.
And it's like even if you look at the body cam footage, it was like he was resisting the whole time. And it's like in these cases, like even with Jacob Blake, because the Jacob Blake situation happened like not too happened in my state, so I was like the first one to see it going on. And even if you look at him, he was running to his car. Like you got somebody with their gun drawn on you, and you just still running your car. Like that makes no sense to me. If anything, if you see that, you're going to be like not moving, like with your hands up. Was like the dude was still. We don't know what could have been in his car. He could add an AK-47 in there. Like, what more
Yeah.
could you do at that point? I think it's going to get to the point where there's going to be some people that just say, because even if like the crazy thing about it is like where I'm from now, it's like if you call the police, it's getting to the point now where it's like somebody has to literally be like shot, like practically dying in front of you for them to come now. It's coming to the point now where they're just like, forget it. Like, y'all want to defund this, so handle the situation yourselves. And that's the point we've gotten to now.
Cause it's like, hell, so because hell, if they somehow, hell, somebody could be breaking into their house, and once they get in, and they decide that they're gonna handle the situation themselves, it's like, well, where are they gonna go? But you gonna lock them up in your basement?
Trust me, believe me, defund
You
the
know,
police and no police.
it's funny you mention it because I got a buddy who's a truck driver, and he was passing through Austin, Texas, and I think it was right around the time, a few months after this whole George Floyd incident took place last year, and they defunded their police down there as well. And they literally put a sign up on the outskirts of the city of Austin, Texas, that literally says, "This is what he told me." That says, "Police have been defunded. Enter at your own risk."
Yeah, and
I
that
kid you not.
is like truck drivers will go look at it like, yeah, I'm liable to get robbed. And it's like, well, no police is like, who I'm gonna call? I'm just gonna be fending for myself.
Yeah. Oh, I like this comment that the lone wolf man put up. If the police is defunded, inner cities will go straight to hell. Protect yourself, golden people.
Yeah, you're not wrong, bro. Trust me, that these cities are already bad enough as it is. Just imagine if there ain't nobody left to stop these guys. There's going to be
Yeah.
people that say, well, we'll just protect our own communities. You don't protect your own communities now with the police.
Shit, man, they defund the police, man. It'd be like that movie, The Purge.
I'm glad you
Right.
said that because that's just
Right.
what I was thinking. That it's going to be just like that. And it's like, in a way, sometimes it just seems like these people just want for something like that to happen. Like everyone, it's like even if you watch like the Purge movies, it's like those movies are like the scary thing about it is like they're like so close to becoming a reality. It's like I watch like every Purge. I even watched the TV show, and it's like you're only like a couple policies away from that being a real thing, and it's like how close are we to that becoming a reality at this point?
Ah, hell, apparently not too far from it. Especially the way how things are going.
And then it's like when you think about it, this is one of the reasons why I had to make this stream because I feel like when it's all said and done, we're going to have to deal with this because we're still, regardless of whether we like it or not, we're still a part of these communities. And it's like Caesar said, there's some people that can't get out. Like there's a lot of people that can get out and not really have to do anything, but there's a lot of people that can't. And those are the ones that are going to have to deal with the stuff right on the head. And it's like when you look at all these like marchers and stuff, it's like you want to tell them it's like, okay, What is your alternative then? What are you going to do to make sure if the police are abolished, what are you going to do to protect these folks? Crickets. Crickets.
Because again, it's like, because like again, when you react out of emotions, you're not gonna really necessarily have no time at all to think, about alternatives. Just basically just acting out, again, due to impulsiveness and emotions, tensions riled up. So all that being said, and then again, when you come back with the follow up, 9 times out of 10, no one's really gonna, they're not gonna be ready for it. I mean, hell, we all can say the exact same thing, but then again, we get hit with, well, yeah, well, what is your follow up?
And they never have. They never think. And it's like then when you ask them this stuff, it's like they just go off the deep end. It's like, so you must be on the cop side, and it's like, no, I'm on
Oh,
the logical side.
yeah, and and again, use your common sense. Now, it's like now if now, I don't know if y'all live in a pop. I don't know if y'all live in areas to where they have like, let's say, poisonous amphibians, like or or let's say snakes or anything that just happens to moment that it bites you, you gonna die. Like just venomous type animals.
Plenty of copperheads down here in South Carolina for sure.
Okay. Now, and because of that, now if if you it's like if you tell somebody that okay, I recommend you stay away from this area because that you may come across some populated, you know, poisonous type of amphibians. So I advise you to stay away from it or give them something that they may need to protect themselves just in case they get bitten. And then you will always have these folks that'll come in and be like, "Oh, I ain't gonna get bit by no snake, or ain't nothing gonna happen to me." And once it does, then all of a sudden they want to be mad at you, or it's like they'll get mad at the person for necessarily being the messenger, but instead of attacking the message, they attack the messenger. And that's why it's like, okay, we're the only ones that. Why is it that the only ones again that have these scientific datas to where yeah snakes have a hazardous of being poisonous? Use common sense.
That's a spot on analogy when you think about it.
About what's that?
Yeah, it's like they're talking. They never really think about the poison. They just
No. So and that's the thing. It's like like if you really want to, it's like if you in a populated area with snakes and you want to survive, then you know what type of precautions you need to take. But listening to listening to it and instead of it getting down with that, oh, it's like, oh well, nah, I'm good. We're just gonna go out there. All right. Well, do you have an alternative? You're not gonna call the the pest control people. You're not gonna call the snake catchers.
no. It's one of those kind of situations like they're not going to call until they're infested with the snakes.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everywhere you walk, there's a snake. It's like, I think I would like for you to do something about the snakes now, and that's ultimately where I think it's heading. It's gonna get so bad to the point these people are going to say, "Oh, well, we need the police force back." It's like, nah, you're on your own,
Nah, yo, you defunded them. Remember?
and that's how a lot of people are going to be. Like they be like, oh no, we did it now.
Yeah, and it's always to the. It's like it's always till. It's always until it's I don't want to say it's always, but sort of overwhelmingly, it's always to where it's like past the point of no return or until it's too late. They finally got the memo.
Yeah, like they're going to realize it when it's too late, and by then the damage is going to be done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It'll be irreversible at that point.
It already is irreversible, if you ask me.
It sure
it's like
seems that way.
it's like and it's like the hell with the criminals. Shoot, we gotta worry about innocent bystanders. Innocent
Um,
bystanders, you, me, uh, the younger generation.
those are going to be the ones that get affected the most.
Yeah,
Those are the ones that are getting affected by it now. And at this rate,
it's
they're just going to be gazelles to the cheetahs, basically.
oh yeah.
And it's like people they just aren't thinking. This is where the bulk of these conversations come from. And it's like when you do bring in somebody, and it's like they have a logical response, well, they take it to heart and be like, "Oh, you just signed with the cops. You must just be one of those conservative coons. Oh, you just hate your people. You need to sympathize with your brethren and stop siding with the man."
And it's like and because of that and because of what's being spewed out, that is what propelled you to think that oh, I'm automatically just a conservative leaning cop loving. Oh, okay, all right, all right. You know what? Idiots have a way of making you stoop down to their level because, and again, this is why people get beat down. This is why people, it's like the moment that you take a stand on something, and then from the moment that you try to like make them understand, and they don't want to understand, and they're not going to. This is like some people just really just some people, not all, but some they just like choose to just stay in the background and just stay silent. And I'm like, but even staying silent at times can has a has a consequence.
And yeah, and it's like giving a green light to the dysfunction, basically.
Yeah,
So it's one of those situations where it's like you're just going to lose regardless. And is let's see what this comment section is talking about.
yeah, man. We didn't.
Y'all know Rashida Strober is planning to bleach her skin. Now, see
Don't
that
play
just
like
goes
that.
back. That just goes back to what I was saying. That, like we was talking about with like the women that's like fetishizing like features. It's like those like women like Rashida Strober, and from what she says, she's with a light skinned man. So it's like, is that what we're getting out in these
Oh
streets?
guys, don't get me started about her about a month ago about the birthday party at the park. And she could cry and boo hoo complain about her daughter didn't get enough candy, but her light skinned friend did. Okay, just because her daughter didn't want to get her nails done. She got her nails done and she got less candy. She said, Mama, my mixed friend had more candy than I do. I'm still like, you not after the more than she does. She made a big deal off of it because her daughter didn't get enough candy.
You know, and that right there, you know, again, that right there is the problem because it's like, you know, since and that just goes to show you, like, you know, again, when people like that, they have offspring that
Yeah,
they bring into the world and they start thinking the way that their mother thinks. You just
yeah.
start shaking. You just put your hand over your head and just be like, "Would you just,
That's abuse.
What?"
And that is abuse because in when her daughter started becoming a teenager, she gonna probably do that same thing her mom did.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then she gonna wonder why nobody don't not gonna like her.
like, well, they hate me because of what I look like. No,
And her mother's still on a certain big YouTuber. She's still going to court with a certain big YouTuber. Y'all know who he is. I'm saying, like, why are you so harassing this man? I'm saying, I understand nobody don't like him, but I'm saying he must got something that then her man don't got, cause his mouth keeps coming out of his man's name keep coming out of her mouth. I'm sorry. That's all you just talk about is him. I'm saying you should talk about your man, not another YouTuber.
yeah,
I'm saying she must not be happy with her man.
Yeah, and especially considering the fact by what she says, he's a light skinned man too. So it's
Yeah,
like,
he must not be putting down the pipe at night. Because he's talking about king of controversy. Yeah, I know who he is. That's all he was talk. All she talked about was him.
oh
but
Lord,
it's
Lord have mercy.
but it's like channels like her are still on YouTube.
Yeah, and they always talk about why black people go with white women, and all of them do have long hair. Their hair have blonde weave. Their hair dyed their hair blonde. I'm saying like, I see why they don't want y'all. They want the real deal. They complain about it. They want somebody who actually born with that way, not somebody who get the filters make them that way.
Yeah,
They want the real deal.
and again, and when they get, and again, and it's like, you know, and even when they do get the real deal, even part of me, it's like, you know, will still somewhat feel that they're never satisfied, no matter how much they complain, no matter how much they get, they gotta have more, which is, and it's like the more they get, the more they want.
Yeah.
Okay, what's his name? What's it? What? Okay, what's this dude's name? This person, Christ Lillian. If I'm saying it right,
Christ.
why is it that light skinned males are seen as feminine, but when dark skinned male dresses as transgender, he gets away with it?
That's just one of those situations where it's like we touched up on it so much. Is like there are theories, but at this point, it's like it's just one of those things where it's like there's just not really like a definite answer to it.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of what that Nas X uh, video that came out about a month ago or so.
Oh yeah, oh
Oh, that was a disgrace.
that was just disgraceful.
Oh, that one where he's twerking on Satan.
Yeah,
That right there,
Yeah,
I don't.
and,
That was a
and you
little
know,
too much.
yeah, and you know what? And imagine this though, like what's the other singer's name? Yeah, The Weeknd. Now, if The Weeknd were to do something similar to what Lil Nas X did, and I'm not saying that he won't, but I'm just saying, just in general,
Oh,
that if he were to do something like that, you know what Lil Nas X did,
oh,
could
that
you?
would have.
Oh
All would
hell
break
yeah.
loose.
Oh, they would have had a field day
They
with
would
that.
have had a fucking field day, and I'm like,
Oh man, but you had all sorts of people coming out the woodwork. Nas X over that video with him dancing on the devil.
And then now it's like if you look at Lil Nas X and it's like, oh well, that's just the effects of the media emasculating us and all that. Like, nah, yeah, like let's keep that same energy.
yeah. It's like you can't necessarily have one energy over here, or you can't necessarily thinking that you can't call out this hypocrisy over here, but just leave one to hang because you know. I'm like, nah, you can't have it both.
Cause I'm telling you, if it's like if it was the weekend, oh,
Yeah,
it would be, we probably be hearing about that to this day. People,
like
the weekend,
you heard the week what the week. It's like nah, like
the weekend would have to retire or something because he never be able to go with that one.
yeah. A light bright. Hey, I like the weekend too, but I'm just saying. But again, I was just using them as an example to see how the double standard and the hypocrisy works in comparisons to if when Lil Nas X does something, then oh, it's a free pass thing. And
Hey, Little Nas X isn't the only one.
y-
There
I
was
think something happened to him when he got into the business.
like on my last stream with that little NFL running back Ricky Williams. He had a picture of him in a wedding dress.
Yeah, I heard about that one though.
That's like one of those things like, oh wow. So we doing that now? But again, nobody says nothing.
nah, hell, what wasn't it? Young Thug and all these other folks wearing skirts and dresses like that, and
Yep.
that gets a pass too. And oh yeah, and Bear Wrestler just put up Kid Cudi.
Oh man, just imagine if that had been Drake in a dress.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I did.
oh hell.
Oh, this, oh man, that
Oh,
would
I was like,
we would.
I can't, man. I
Yeah, I already think he's soft.
who's that?
Drake.
Who? It's
Most
like,
people think he's soft because he's light skinned.
If Drake would have did that, oh, these people would have been creating. We probably would still be seeing me if that was Drake. But this guy just, and it's like, and even if you look at like I'm sure y'all probably go on TikTok every now and then, and you just be seeing all these guys they be wearing wigs, acting like women and all that. It's something that you would see like on one of the like RuPaul shows, and it's like you just people just brush it off like it's
Yeah.
not. It's like,
so is it so again? So I'm wondering, is this a way of saying that well, either way, y'all look good. So if we try to look like y'all the way y'all do, we would look like y'all. Like, what the hell does that mean? Look like y'all. Meaning that if Prince, oh, they love talking about Prince. Oh, and I love me some Prince, by the way. Oh, remember
Oh
when
yeah,
Prince had,
Prince was the man.
yeah, when Prince had that outfit with the booty hanging out, with the butt hanging out back in the '80s. And people, get even the modern day folks, if they look at that, they will be having something to say. I'm like, well, hell, if he was alive, leave him with your girl for 2 hours, and you come back and talk to me, see if he gay or not.
I think he's just a feminine man.
And he could whoop you, and he could whoop ass.
And he's how small is he?
I I think
Five
he's
three.
around 5'3".
And he can
Yeah,
play
he was real
basketball.
short.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was like midget short, practically. But they said he actually had like a real deep voice, like nothing like how he sound when he sings.
and I think it's that what do they call that? And I think like the I don't yeah, like a lot of black singers have is that B line in their voices when they hit certain notes, even though he necessarily didn't use his deep voice all that much when he sung, because he was always singing high pitch.
Yeah, the man. I mean, the man was a
Yeah,
musical genius. Never
yeah.
be another rapper.
No, not that.
And it's like you can't. It seems like you can't ever bring up the '80s without bringing up Prince,
Right.
because I know that a lot of people seen it. Like every time we have this conversation, it seems like the first thing people want to bring up is Prince, and it's like, no, man, y'all still can't let go of Prince. I mean, it's like 2020. Y'all can't let go of something that happened 40 years ago.
Well, you know me. Well, again, I was born in '87, so it's like I get in around that time. It's like no matter. It's like no matter what somebody did, you know, around that time period, it's like you definitely think that oh well, because of this took place some odd years ago, you think that they're gonna be the same way. It's like no, did it ever consider you that was fashion back then? And that's the thing that nobody really don't take in is the fashion. Y'all don't take in that, nor do y'all take in that oh, somebody's sexuality wasn't always in question when they did something.
No, no, because it's like every decade has like different fashion statements.
And
Like,
and even he'll tell you that, oh, I was doing it for the ladies.
because I'm sure down the line, probably in 2060, they'll probably be looking at it like, oh, that's a weird way to dress.
Yeah.
Okay, the discreet geek says, get Playboy Cardi and Uzi can do the gayest crap in the world, and they're still perceived as cool, but a trippy red or experimentation are bad and called typical because they're light skinned and pale. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, even if you look at one of those guys, Uzi Vert, he got like a jewel practically be dazzling his forehead, and I was looking at that, and I was like, man, that is very effeminate, man. Like a pink jewel, like in the middle of his forehead, like that just look
Yeah, it's like a pink diamond.
like when you look at that, it's like when you side eye, it's like, man. So that's what they doing nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, sadly to say.
But that Playboy, that Kid Cudi thing, I I haven't really watched the full video, but I saw like another YouTuber talking about it, and I just saw the dress and like, oh, well, here we go again. And it's like when you look at it, it's just one of those situations where it's like, oh, if they can do it, but it's okay, but when us doing it, oh, we go get mean to hell and back.
you would be topic of discussion for how many years now, or how many weeks, days?
It's like even if you look at Curry, I mean Curry hasn't even ever like done anything like blatantly like gay as opposed to like LeBron, but they still be clowning Curry. I mean LeBron's been walking around in wigs, dude be walking around in person and all, but you don't ever see it with.
No.
It's like like him, like Dwayne Wade. I mean, don't even get me started on Dwayne Wade. I mean, Wade has done a lot of questionable things in the past. Like I've seen, like looking, I watch a lot of basketball, so I'll be seeing like, and them like players like LeBron, Wade, and it's like you look at them sometimes and they just be wearing these little suspect looking outfits, and it's like, ah man, this is sus, bro. And it's like then you look at Curry, and it's like has never really done anything like obvious to make it like, oh that's feminine, bro. But people stay coming for him. Like I was on YouTube, saw a video, somebody had like pasted like a wig and makeup on. I'm like, who does stuff like that? I mean, it just could be me, but I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that I don't know. I would. I really don't know what to say. It's like, again, going back to thing earlier, it's like people want to pick and choose what they want is to be seen as what's masculine and what's not so masculine. And unfortunately, again, for the golden boys or the golden men of the world, we just somewhat happen to fall victim of facing the not so good end of it. I'm like, I mean, hell, I'm like, hell, I want, again, hell, The Rock, yeah, yeah, everybody loves The Rock. Y'all smell what The Rock is cooking? Oh, same thing.
Well, even if you look, well, they can't really do it with the Rock because the Rock is, I mean, the Rock is like practically like a Captain America, basically. So it's
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
can't really say too much about him.
nah, cause he'll fuck him up.
I mean, this is the same guy that had Tyrese crying over stuff. Like,
Oh yeah,
he's like,
oh yeah, yeah, and they still talk about it how they still don't get along, and I'm like, go. There was actually a clip where he actually slapped Tyrese, and Ludacris put his camera down and put his phone down on the camera, and he's watching this little confrontation go back and forth. And the moment that I guess Tyrese says something, and Rock just again just slapped him, and Ludacris was like, "Oh shit."
you know what? I've never even seen a video like that.
Oh yeah, I think it's still on YouTube.
but I see this Chris. I think. Forgive me if I don't say it right. Chris Leon said, "Why do some dark skinned women call themselves brown skin when they're not?" At this point, I don't even think there's really a way you could even judge color anymore. It's like there's so many different definitions of like different skin tones. It's like you if you try to narrow it down, it's like nearly impossible nowadays. Because it's like there's some people that they call dark skin nowadays that you look and it's like, man, they're not really that dark.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's coming to the point where you have to be like so light, practically you're the color of like a white person themselves to be considered light nowadays. And it's like,
So basically, there's like nothing like nothing really in the middle.
no, it's like if you could be like super light, but they'll say you're brown if you got a visible touch of caramel to your skin.
Yeah, all right then. Shoot, what else? Shoot, I might as well be a part of that then. I might as well if that's how they gonna put it.
Yeah, and it's like even if you look at like the quote unquote women that they like, to me, dark would have to be like somebody like Viola Davis, like like that family and them, like that. To me, that's what dark is.
Yeah,
Like Megan the Stallions, like no, not even close.
but
And
nah though. But back in the day, those like okay, I'll admit I was like watching a whole lot of SWP videos up until he just became a dick over time.
I still
And
watch them every now and then. I just try not to watch them. And sometimes, sometimes I just look at his colorism videos and see what he be saying.
yeah,
But
and he was all like, yeah, I will always get these girls that be Biggie complexion trying to say that uh I'm light skinned when really I'm a brown chocolate brother. And then he'll do another video saying, well, if I had to say I'm Marcus Houston complexion and Omarion, I'm like, well, which one is it? Are
it,
you in the middle or you're not so in the middle? Because it's like, which one is it?
I think it's coming to a point now where we might just have to get rid of that brown
Yeah,
skin category sooner or later.
yeah,
Like either you light or you dark, no in
yeah,
between.
pretty much because and again we already know, again what the particular classes are gonna be, you know, 20, 30 years later down the line.
And even if you look at Sarge, I mean Sarge really, and this is like something else that I noticed. It's like Sarge Willie Pete just talks all that mess about light skinned men, but his dad is light skinned.
Oh
Now
yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
never really hear people talking about, oh well, your daddy's light skinned, so why are you talking about light skinned people? But if say like somebody like me talks about it, it's like, oh well, you got dark people in your family, so why are you talking about like? And it's like, okay, well,
I think because again because I guess he thinks because well I guess I don't want to say that I ain't trying to make no excuses for him, but to me I think it sounds ridiculous if he's trying to go down the path of trying to I guess see it from the woman's perspective, and it's like you really can't because you're not a woman.
right,
Oh yeah, Lone Wolf Man. I remember Captain Solo, and he would be jealous of Captain Solo as fuck, yo.
I've never really. I heard he made videos, but I never really saw like Captain Solo. I just hear what he said he be referencing when he
Yeah,
referenced your name.
yeah, like because Captain Solo was, the type of, dude where you kept it black, even though now, yes, what he said about Cap Solo being light skinned, yeah, that point is true, but he's like this Detroit, yeah, dude from Detroit living in New York,
Oh,
and I know that there was that, one particular point where they did a show on Gen X called Light Skin versus Dark Skin, and um, people was telling Sarge, hey, we shouldn't do this show. And they did the show, and there was this white dude by the name of Josh that called in and was saying how he thinks dark skinned women, look like Shanae and shit, and they took it personal. And I'm like, I thought this show was about, sort of honesty. Whether you thought he was coming from it from an agenda perspective.
shit, they,
So
they,
yeah, that,
that's
that,
a
that, that
funny
that's
way
what
of putting it.
that's what that's what the white dude said, and so Sarge let it out saying that he says that he got mad at Captain Solo because he said because Captain Solo told him, "Oh, I told you we shouldn't have done the show." But then there was another girl who was Caribbean. I think her name was Beautiful Brains or Beautiful Burns, and all she said was the show was an epic failure.
Wow.
And again, he got mad. And I'm like, well, damn. If somebody is telling, it's like, dang, I didn't know you say that the women can't handle criticism. Does that mean you can't either? Especially when it comes to the colorism topic.
Yeah, there be a lot of people that a lot of people on there just be saying, telling me, Look, bro, you need to stop talking about that."
Yeah, especially when it don't necessarily apply to you because you wouldn't know again. You thinking that you got a dog in the fight, and in reality you don't. And you've done countless videos where you thinking that you speaking for the exact same men that you yourself love to hate. I'll put it that way. Yeah, you love to hate or like to hate.
And it's like it's kind of like that whole Angel Ramirez situation all over again. And it's like I always say, it's like we got the wrong people are speaking for us. It's like either you got the ones that are just either they low key don't like us from talking about us, or you got the ones that really aren't going to ruffle any feathers.
And it's like this, it's and the thing is, and it's like, hey, oh damn it, I lost my train of thought. Shit. I hate it when that happens. It'll come back to me. But yeah, oh, okay, it came back. But now, but again, if we were to, again, it's like if even with Angel Ramirez, again, it's like sometimes I think now some people may say it though. Now I don't necessarily see it this way. It's like now you'll have folks that'll be like that'll defend him. Oh, he just speaking on it out of passion. Passion. You mean passion in the sense of, you know, sometimes, again, people really let their true feelings or their true selves really get in the way of what they think, or just, passionate in the sense of if it doesn't apply.
And then it's even I don't know. It's like I saw that he got his YouTube channel taken down supposedly, and I just randomly decided like, let me see what this guy's up to. And now I'm looking at the guy's channel, and it's like Dude, it's one of those weird situations. It's like he claims to be Puerto Rican and Jamaican, but it's like if you heard him talk, you would swear he's trying to say like he's from the Sudan or something. So it's like, dude, honestly, if you look at him, if I were to go out in public right now and look at him, I would probably think he's like Puerto Rican or something. And it's like when you look at that and you look at it's almost like a front, supposedly.
Yeah.
And it's like even he said he likes dark skinned women. And it's like it all seems like just a big mask. And it's, I know he's from New York, and I see the Lone Wolf Man says the Dominican Republic, as long as they maintain themselves, don't let outside forces ruin their phenotype. And it's like even if you look at them, it's weird. It's like they love just trying to identify and pick up this whole like. Even if you look at them, it's like they're slowly falling into this whole like BLM mindset too. And it's like going back to like the defunding the police. It's like on top of like these people having like black people, it's like they got everybody on board with this now. So like now you got not only do you got to go get worry about black people, you got to worry about Latin, whites. So it's like you're going against everybody up until this point.
And you know what? And you know, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up because a long time ago, like there was this dude who went by the name of J Love 47, who was apparently gay. He tried to deny the fact that he was gay, and he was a dark skinned dude, and he would always go on these same old colorism rants. He had said something to the effect of how light skinned folks ain't really black, and they gotta go, exclude them out of the community. And of course, he got a response directed at him saying that, well, you know what, that would be the death of you.
When I hear him say that, I just think to myself, like, is that something y'all really want? Because
Yeah,
if they
that's
really, if we really want to go there, okay, so yeah, we'll leave. But in that case, then we need our historical figures back. Because I
yeah,
remember there's this YouTuber I watched called G Dizzle, and he did a whole video talking, and you'd be surprised, like all these people to say like, oh, well, the first black person did this, but what they don't realize is a lot of the supposed first blacks were actually light skinned or mixed people that were doing this stuff, like Charles Drew. So it's like if that were the case, y'all be losing a lot of historical figures. There wouldn't be nothing left at this point.
yeah. Yeah, or better yet, give us back Thurgood Marshall.
Oh, Thurgood, they might as well just redo the whole Thurgood Marshall movie because, I mean,
Right.
not to speak ill on Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace to him, the only Black Panther, but that dude had no business playing Thurgood Marshall.
And you know what? And I think I think it may have been that video how I first got introduced to you that I looked at was how how come there are people playing us in certain movies that they really don't look like us. And I think it may have been that, and I was like, oh man, there was plenty of folks who I knew who could have played Thurgood Marshall very well, plenty of them. So they're just gonna say that, well, we couldn't come, and there's gonna be the argument, well, we couldn't find any. I'm like, that's bullshit. Y'all just didn't want to, again, y'all just didn't want to do the due diligence and actually do the picking yourselves, or unless if you could somewhat, if there was enough of, uh, again, the more melanated, black folk, the darker melon folk, it's like I think y'all was just trying to do this appeasing
That's a good word to use,
Yeah,
appeasing.
because
Because
hell, let somebody do a movie based on me. Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna pick little baby or the baby or something to play. Bullshit. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just saying.
I'd be like, nah, y'all need to take down the script, redo it, get a
Yeah,
director or something because nah, that
right.
kid don't look like me.
Nah, or get Tyrese to play Ti. Hell no. Nah. I'm like Ti could play himself if he wanted to, but I'll be damned if y'all gonna try to what's the term that I'm looking for? Oh yeah, okay, y'all going so y'all are just pretty much are just gonna culture vote this the screenplay by putting somebody else that really don't look like just say oh well they're black
But
like they don't know that.
and and then it's like the same with me. I wouldn't like even if there was a biography like me, there's no way I would have somebody like little baby or the baby or like little Uzi Vert or like Idris Elba. I'd be like, no, no, y'all redo the movie because no, because it's hard to take the movie seriously if you got somebody that don't even look like the guy. It's like that's the whole reason you have like a biopic. Like you
Yeah.
find somebody and they recreate that person's life. So it's like when you pick somebody that don't look like the person, it's like the movie like it don't even flow.
Nah, I think that's what the I think that may be what the agenda is to basically stop the flow. They believe that if the flow can be stopped and there's really nothing more that they can get out of it, that's what they're gonna do. Again, going back to what's within their best interests.
And I'm glad we're on the subject because I'm working on a video right now, and the next video I'm going to be talking about is pretty much like light skinned male media erasure. I'm kind of like getting all like the sources, like all the shows. I'm going to go like in depth, like with the whole like from like the 70s or 80s to like now. And that's probably gonna ruffle some feathers. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But
Hey, well, if it happens, someone get flagged, you can send the copy to me, privately. No, I'm just playing. Cause get hell. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be having these people on my back like, "What'd you do with that video?"
but you know what? On that man, I
But
think I'm about to shut this stream down. It was good talking to y'all, man.
oh, same here, man. Thanks for having me on, and glad I finally got a chance to talk to the the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that.
Nah, no problem.
It's always good having these videos so I can interact with y'all a little more because I haven't really been active as much. I'm trying to get like more consistent with my videos and stuff. I'm definitely going to try to have like a more consistent upload schedule. Start doing more lives. Maybe start having some more people up on the panel. I'm going to at least try to do my part.
All right then, man. Well, I was getting ready to head on out myself, and I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, man.
All right
Thanks
then.
for dropping by.
No problem.
Well, here. Thanks for watching, everybody, and make sure you guys stay tuned for my next video. We'll be talking about light skin male erasure. So Definitely want to keep an eye on that. And got a little Easter egg for another video I'll be working on after that one. That's going to be a really interesting one. I hope y'all stay tuned to watch. Anyways, good night, everybody. Peace out.